street trash, Wastelands. And here are your hosts, longtime partners in slime, Adam Obscene and Mark.
Hello, listeners and listeners. This is Wastelands. Hello, Marco Mark.
Hello, Adam Obscene. Hello, listeners.
We're here again to talk about the things that we love, which is movies that are so bad that they're good. We've had lots of discussions about how it's come full circle because we got to talking about this rabbit hole around movie adaptions. And so I made Mark watch this. So, listeners and listeners, we've got a film here called I Am Omega. The trailer's a little bit sketchy for the fact that it doesn't have any words, but Mark, you had the perfect description of the opening scene of that trailer.
But all you can hear, listeners, at the start of that trailer is like the of martial arts and weapons being swung around, and that's the the survivor, the lone survivor, out in his front yard, doing all kinds of crazy kicks and maneuvers and using all sorts of sticks and nunchucks. And I just didn't know whether the bad guys were invisible or if it was a training montage. I think now that was a training montage.
But we can't be sure. So
we can't be sure.
So I Am Omega is a 2007 film. Basically, the synopsis is in a post-apocalyptic LA. It's been rampaged by zombie-like cannibal humans that have some kind of genetic infection. A local man, Richard, is forced to live a daily struggle as he tries to locate radio signals to find a cure. Wow, what does that sound like?
Gee, Adam, I don't know. Maybe it was from another movie around the same time with Wil Smith in it called I Am Legend.
And you are correct. So this is by the Asylum. Basically, the Asylum have cut their bread and butter since 1999, focusing on producing low-budget direct-to-video films. They've become notorious for using titles and scripts that are very familiar to current blockbusters in order to lure their customers in, and sometimes even being so sneaky to release the films to video before the said inspiration was released in theaters. So this is exactly this is a point in case for that. I Am Omega came out, and let me just look at my notes here because I was being really researchy. November 18, 2007, I Am Omega came out. I Am Legend came out on the 14th of December, 2007. So basically, I Am Omega came out a month before I Am Legend. There's lots of thoughts about why they do that, and one of the thoughts that I quite like is that they can't get nailed for plagiarism if it comes out first.
Yeah, and with this one, there was so many similarities in it, but they were just touch tone similarities. It wasn't an absolute rip off of every scene. It was pretty close though.
So interesting, and we can. This episode's going to be more or less going to put us in a particular perspective. One is that we're both going to agree that I Am Omega was a pretty shoddy direct-to-video shocker. I actually enjoyed it because I enjoyed its naffness compared to the films that preceded it and then the film that passed it. So when I talk about the films that preceded it, what are we talking about? Last Man on Earth in 1964 with Vincent Price and Mega Man with Charlton Heston in, I think it was 71. Were all based on a novel by Richard Matheson. And so each one of these films have taken a slightly different tact to it, but one of those consistencies in there, like the radio and am I going mad and is things being moved and are they really zombies or am I the last man on earth? I think that you smush all those films together and they actually kind of all do justice in different ways to the novel. But then they also add their own new spins to it. So Mark, you let me in on a dirty secret last week, which was your undying love for Will Smith and I Am Legend. And where did that love bear from, my good man? Like,
I saw I Am Legend at the cinema when it was a new release, and I loved it. I thought it was great. I loved everything about the movie. I loved that Mike Patton did all the voices and all the vocal sounds for the zombies / infected people. I just thought that was so cool because I'm a big Faith No More and Mike Patton fan as well. And I so much so that I got a copy of the book I Am Legend. Happens to be a short story. And I read it, and it was pretty close to the Will Smith movie. However, the character, the Will Smith character, the last man standing guy, was completely Aryan. Like he was, it was almost shocking to read how much the author made of his, physique and his stature and his blonde hair and his blue eyes, and how, it was up to him to save it all. And what I really loved when I read this was that Will Smith just turned that on its ass, man. And I love that. And I love that he infused, for many reasons, but he infused Bob Marley through it and stuff like that, and into the soundtrack. And I just thought it was great. When I learned more and more about it, the more I loved the movie. So yeah, I must admit, I've watched it a few times.
It's a great movie. And I think that that point that you talk about, the sort of the atypical macho, blonde hair, blue eyes, oily walnut hero was really probably the Charlton Heston character in Omega Men in like 71. He really they took that character from the book directly, and like he sort of runs like that.
Yeah, and the book was written in the 1950s, or published, I should say, in the 1950s.
Yeah, 1954, I think.
So we're talking about a decade where
machoism, and coming out of like a pretty conservative era in America.
Absolutely.
was dead on. The other part, I think, is that we're talking about Will Smith and turning the sort of character concept on the head. I do feel like, though, I Am Omega, I think it did it as well, because the lead actor, who is Mark, now I'm going to say this wrong, I think it's DeCasco, who he's a Hawaiian-born Filipino Japanese descent kung fu sort of master, and so basically wasn't not an Aryan hero.
No,
he was, and they brought in all those elements of like that sort of. There was a lot of nods to Bruce Lee films, and like there was lots of nunchucks and crazy ass fly kicks and stuff, but to the point where his character was actually ridiculed by some rednecks in there, like, hey, compadre, come over here, boy. It was all that sort of stuff. And it was just like, wow, that is totally like the other side of it. So,
there was a serious overuse of the word compadre in this movie.
I counted 19 times too.
Instead of a body count, you've got a compadre count. Oh my God, it was so repetitious.
But like I think he played Richard, which he was in Double Dragon in 1994. He's also he looked really familiar. It's like he was in John Wick. He 3 last year. But the thing he really got me, and mate, he has a striking resemblance to Brandon Lee.
Oh, yeah, sure, he does.
And I was going, yeah, wow, that's what Brandon Lee would probably look like if he didn't die on the set of The Crow. And I did a bit of research, and he actually played Eric in the Crow TV series in 1998. Cool. So
great fact.
So that's what he looks like him. He does the kung fu, and he played the character, the Crow, in the TV series, ill-fated TV series. I think it only went for one season. But there you go. There's a little bit of extra bites. That sort of goes all in and around and up and down. Do you know something else I found out while looking for this film?
What's that?
That in 2021, I Am Legend 2 is coming out.
Ooh, please tell me Will Smith.
Yes.
As in
Yes.
the man, the legend, the Will Smith.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
how good's that?
well, great news. I'm hearing it right now live, listeners. That's fantastic.
So yeah, that's scheduled for release. The trailer's on online now, so you can go check it out.
Oh, that's cool.
But that's a lot of talking in and around the mythology of the I Am Legend.
Yeah. It has a mixed lineage, absolutely, stemming from that originally published book, and it's a pretty pretty well-worn path as sort of a trope in sort of survivalist and dystopian movies now. But this one seems to be the one that stems directly from the Richard Matheson book, and I guess maybe they gave a nod to the original author by naming the hero in I Am Omega Richard as well. So maybe that could be a slight tie-in.
I think too, and there's another tie-in, which is there's lots of Easter eggs in this movie. Is that the car that he was driving at the start, the white Oldsmobile, and the car that was in the parking garage that they broke away from, the green convertible, they were both Oldsmobiles Omegas.
Oh, hey,
yeah.
Cool.
So that's So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's so cool, man. Yeah. I noticed, and I don't know if you did, and I hope, listeners, if you do watch this, I wonder, Adam, if you picked up on a very subtle sidekick that our hero Richard had with him at all times.
Oh, yeah.
A friend from a couple of episodes ago, he had a fair bit of hillbilly chrome on the go.
Yeah, didn't he? There
was a lot of gaffer tape in this, people. So go back, watch our series on how to survive the apocalypse, and tune into the one called Hillbilly Chrome, and go to our Instagram page for hints, tips, and tricks on how to use Hillbilly Chrome in the apocalypse, and watch this movie so you will learn how to use it properly.
This movie really almost typified those two episodes. Just even the way that he fortified his compound.
Oh, yeah. That's fully how we would have done it. Like janky, but it worked.
Yeah,
you know?
It's just like, I got some ply. And it's like, one thing, like, let's talk about survival tips of the Wasteland just quickly.
All right.
Because it got me thinking while I was watching, and it stuck in my mind, is that he boarded up the whole house, except for the front door, which was two massive glass pane sliding doors.
Yeah.
It's like... Yeah. That made no sense to me. Just at least put some newspaper on them or something.
At least. Yeah, like paint them out or something. I know. It was so janky.
That was funny.
My notes, I don't know. I made notes this time, Adam. And the first notes I made was, it's the story of a docile white boy who grows up to be a handsome Asian man that plays his own father in a flashback.
I was there. I got to the point when I realized that the boy wasn't.
Yeah.
Because I was going, hang on, how did he go from being a white that he must have survived being pulled onto the car to being this Asian Marine? And then I realized, no, the dad had just gone home. Right.
Oh, it's the dad. Is that the dad?
He's the dad of the women.
What?
Yeah. So, because I totally could, I'm hoping it's the dad, man, because that's the only way I can fucking reconcile that weirdness. Okay. Is that there was some weird, inconsistent storytelling, if not.
Like, okay, yeah. Oh, well,
because he looked at a photo. He looked at a photo of his mum and the white boy.
Yeah,
and I was thinking, oh, he's looking at a photo of his mum and him, and they went, oh, hang on a second. No, I reckon it's his wife and his kid. That he's gone back home after everything's gone down. And the reason,
okay, I'm with you.
Because otherwise at the end...
explain that.
No, otherwise at the end when he talks about to the girl, Brianna, who he rescues, and says, you remind me of somebody, and you could either say, oh, it reminds me of his mum, but then at the end when they have their romantic scene and they say, oh, you remind me of somebody who, I don't really... And then they kiss... Oh God!
Well, he never says who it is.
No. So when they kiss, if it's the mum, that's creepy. But if it's his wife, that's okay. I'm okay with that.
Well, I was watching the kissing scene at the end. Sunset over the apocalypse, and they're up watching it go down. And see, I still had in my mind that
he's kissing his mum.
Oh, you remind me of my mum. He doesn't say that, but he kisses her anyway. And in his mind, he's thinking, well, this is really fucking awkward, but she's the last woman left. She just happens to look like mum. So I'm going to go there. I'm going there.
All right. So
anyway,
I'm going with the fact that I think he's the returned serviceman that's gone home to find that his wife and kid has been killed.
And Adam, I believe that you're 100% correct.
Because that is way less creepy than this other situation.
And it just shows that there was some inconsistencies in the storyline, to say the least.
Dude, I didn't get that watching the film. I was with you. I was like, he's kissing his mum right to the end. It took me today to actually sit on that for a while and go, nah. It was his wife and kid.
Yeah.
Because it just
listeners, watch this movie.
It wasn't clear, dude.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It sounds like we're waffling on, listeners. We're not. We're actually trying to get this movie straight in our heads together, and Adam's helping me with this because it's one of those movies that is great, and we know our audience, and we have a lot of listeners, who are big B-grade trash and VHS heads. So this will be fine. This is in your ballpark, people. But have a look. It's got some really inconsistent storylines. Another one, Adam, which is a little bit further into the movie, is when the two rednecks rock up, they, this is not a spoiler. You can't spoiler this. They blow the shit out of his house to make him basically, with a bazooka, to make him compliant. Like, okay, you won't come with us? Kablooey. They blow the shit out of his house.
Now you have to come with us.
It's a big fireball sort of thing. And then in the next scene, he's just standing there in his front yard going, all right, I'll come with you. And his house is fully still intact behind him.
Still intact.
I couldn't work it out. And they still had the internet.
There's actually funny. There's another one that's an inconsistency is in the getaway car at the end, the Corvette, the silver Corvette. It cuts away to the speedometer, and the speedometer is actually a Volvo.
Bit of B-roll. Nice.
It's great.
That's great.
Listeners, it's those inconsistencies that make this movie really enjoyable. Like I said, it's cheesy kung fu. I got to say, the zombies were cool.
They were.
The spines coming out of their spine.
Yeah. The makeup, the prosthetics were really good in this, actually. Like, that was really good. Another inconsistency, sorry about my note-taking, but another one I took was, okay, so Richard's been compliant, and he's gone with the two rednecks, and they're going to sneak into the city, into downtown, using a series of tunnels. And Richard says to the rednecks, emphatically explains, absolutely no shooting guns in the tunnels.
Because of the gas lines.
Because of the gas lines down there. And within 5 seconds, they're fucking firing AK-47s.
It's like the OK Corral. They're going like... That's like in a plane, and they say, whatever you do, just don't open that door. And the first thing someone does is just opens the door.
Just opens it. Like, that was hilarious as well. And also, okay, another note. Not only did Richard have in his arsenal of apocalypse survival weaponry hillbilly chrome, he also had a calculator watch.
I noticed that. Just in case he had to add up some statistical things, or he may wanted to do this.
Body count.
Was 40. That's better. So this was actually quite a high body count, because you would expect that in any zombie film, that there's just bodies going to be laying waste everywhere. So for a film, if the body count was 40, the length of the film was 91 minutes, so the KPM, or kills per minute, is quite high. It's 0.439.
Nice.
So that's half a kill a minute through the length of the film. So you really can't get... Yeah, basically every 2 minutes, something gets murdered in this film. That's pretty consistent.
That is very consistent. No wonder they had to just keep shooting in the tunnels when they were told, don't shoot in the tunnels.
Don't shoot in the tunnels. So give us some null notes. Have you got anything else in there?
Yeah, I got a great quote from it. What was it? Why don't you just shoot them all? Because any fool can pull a trigger. That was in there. And also, I made a note about the woman they saved. Okay, the character, the female character that they saved.
Yeah,
I just
Brianna.
wrote, she's a pain in the ass.
Totally. Like when they were at the dumpster, they're trying to get out of the city, and a zombie jumps out of the dumpster, and she goes to shoot it blank in the face and goes, "Don't shoot it so close, you'll get blood on you." And then jumps up again, and she goes to shoot it in the face again. It's like...
I don't know. If I had traveled from my outpost, my fortified outpost, safe in the hills outside of the city, and then I'd battled a couple of rednecks who shot in the tunnels after I told them not to, and blew up my house, which was miraculously still standing, and made it through like a sewer system into downtown to rescue someone that then just within the first 30 seconds folded their arms and rolled their eyes at me. I don't know, man. I'd be wanting to like maybe just scavenge some food and go home. Like, I don't need that in my life.
Well, you got to give it to Richard that he didn't want to save her in the first place.
No,
he had a gut instinct that when she contacted him through the weird internet video messaging thing, which I don't even understand how she found him, how that works. I'll just say that it did.
It worked.
And she said, "Can you come and save me?" And he went, "Nah." And he closed it because he had a feeling that she was a pain in the ass.
Yeah. She's after me for my hillbilly chrome and my calculator watch.
Yes, and my box of books.
He's got my mannequins. Fuck.
So the two things that I wanted to just talk about quickly before we wrap this up is that the mannequin reference, because the mannequins are all through these films, particularly in I Am Legend, but also in Omega Man. But I don't think we can not talk about the awesome scene. One of my favorite scenes in I Am Legend, which we'll do that jump over, is when Will Smith goes to the video shop.
Oh yeah,
and it's like he's still, sort of acting out the mundane parts of life by going to the video shop, getting a DVD, watching it, and then taking it back the next day. I love that. It's so good.
Yeah, for sure.
It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite parts of that movie.
Yeah, for sure. 2007, when that was still a thing. Like, totally.
Kids watching that now are going, "What is he? What's he taking? Why is he taking the DVD back to JB Hi-Fi?"
Yeah. So one of the last blockbuster movies where that was still like a relevant thing to put in there. I was just going to say, I think Losteners, like I'll put a fun challenge to you. Read I Am Legend by Richard Mathis. Watch what was the 60s movie? What was the one?
Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price. Yeah, you can watch that that's available on YouTube for free.
Have a marathon weekend. Watch Last Man on Earth, Omega Man,
which is
I Am Legend, and then I Am Omega.
So you can watch all three. Last Man on Earth, Omega Man, and I Am Omega are all on YouTube.
Yep, and pick up a book, people. It won't kill you.
And pick up a book, and then just go down to I guess you could probably just wait till next week, because the way that this show's going, all the major commercial networks just listen to what we talk about and then just show it on TV. So I Am Legend will probably be on TV next week.
Probably will.
Bet your bottom dollar. And we also got Wasteland caps. If you want some, get on that list, motherfuckers, because they're sick, and we'll pop them up on the socials so you can see what they look like.
Yeah, man, merch is a thing.
Merch is the thing. So we're on all the platforms, listeners and listeners. Just search Wastelands Radio Show. You'll find us on there, on the socials as well. You can email us at wastelandsradioshow@gmail.com, and we're at wastelands.com.au for liner notes, episode notes, and all the other stuff. That's the show. How does that feel on the whole?
Hey, feels great.
Feels great. Remember, listeners and listeners, be kind, rewind, and Mark, is there anything else you would like to add?
On this Sunday evening, Adam, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.